Before we move to the develop module, I want to select one of the pictures. You know what? Actually, let's go to Brooke sitting down. I'm going to use one of these pictures. And I'll select let's see, this one right here. Then, once I have my image selected, I'm going to hit develop. I really want to see before and after, so I'm going to click right here. And maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit. If you've used Camera Raw before, these tools are going to look very familiar to you. We can spend hours going through all of these, but I'm going to mention only some of them real fast. This is our crop tool right here. We can do spot removal. Then we can add graduated filters if necessary. And we can use the adjustment brush, which is one of my favorite tools. What the adjustment brush allows you to do is you can select specific areas in a picture and then decide whether they need to be brighter or darker. You can add contrast and all these other great things. But I'm going to focus on the entire image. Here at the top we can leave the picture in color, or we can convert it to black and white. I think I'm going to convert it to a black and white image, but before I do that, I just want to show you some of these options right here. This is the color temperature slider. We have tint. We can overexpose or underexpose our image right here. Here's the contrast bar. Let's keep scrolling. If we want to recover some of the highlights, we can use the highlights slider. I'm going to overexpose some of my highlights. We can open up the shadows if it needs to be done. We can control the whites only in the picture, also the blacks. Clarity tool is one of my favorite tools, but I try my best not to abuse it. It'll make your image pop out, but I don't want to use too much of it, maybe just a little bit. We can increase the vibrance of our images if necessary. Here we have the tone curve. We have many options here where we can play with hue, saturation, luminance, and all. If you have a black and white image, we can do split toning. And if our image needs to be sharpened, we can do it right here. And here's a preview showing us whatever we do to our image when it comes to sharpening. If our image has a lot of noise in it, we can easily remove or reduce the noise by using the noise reduction slider. Lens corrections, just like in Photoshop and Camera Raw. And we can add different effects such as vignetting. So let's add a little bit of it. Now let's scroll all the way to the top. And let's say I want to make this picture black and white. And there are many ways of making a black and white image. And I'm just going to do this real quick to show you. And I'll add some contrast. Maybe I'll recover some of these highlights now. Now let's say that I'm satisfied with this image right here and this effect that I've created. I can select all of my pictures right here by hitting Control A on a PC or Command A on a Mac. And then I can sync all of these pictures. And then I can check all of these, or check none, or just check some of these adjustments that I've made. And then I can click Synchronize. And this effect that I've created here, this adjustment that I've created, is going to be applied to every other image here. If you want to do some more work to it, you can go back, you can even bring it back to color, or you can reset whatever adjustments you've made, and then you can start all over again. And the great thing about this is that this is a non-destructive way of working. You're not doing any damage to your image, and all of these adjustments that you make can be reverted. You can get rid of them easily. So let's do a few things to this image. I really don't like the blown out highlights on her dress, so I'm going to use the adjustment brush that I mentioned earlier. And then I can start painting right here. And this is a little too dark, so I'm going to use the exposure tool and just bring back some of the highlights. Here I can adjust the brush size and the feather of the brush. And if I want to erase some of these areas, like right here, I can hit erase, and I can increase the size of the brush, and I can erase those areas. I think it's a little muddy, so I'm going to increase the exposure. That's okay. And that's what the adjustment brush will do, and it can do so much more for you. This is just an amazing tool in Adobe Lightroom, which you can also find in Camera Raw. Now let's go down to curves, and perhaps I want to add a little bit of yellow and maybe red to this image. So I'm going to select blue, and I'll create this cross-processed effect real quick. And then I'll go to red. Let's see what I can do here. And if I'm happy with this adjustment, what I can do is I can go all the way back to this panel right here. I can select presets, and then I can save this adjustment, which I can apply to my images in the future. So I'll click here, and I'll call this cross processing. Now I'm going to apply this effect. In the next tutorial, we are going to briefly look at these other options that we have at the top.